moviegoers, and welcome to another edition of Have You Seen It? I am your host, Denise, and before I get into my review, you know I've got to tell you who my favorite actor is this week. My favorite actor is Henry Fonda. Two of my favorite Henry Fonda movies. One, The Grapes of Wrath, which takes place in the Depression era, and then 12 Angry Men. If you have not seen either of those films, you need to check those out because Henry Fonda was really, really excellent in both those films. So he is my favorite actor this week. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my review. And my review this week is the movie Roofman, starring Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, Peter Dinklage, and Lakeith Stanfield. This movie was very, very interesting, okay? Let me tell you, this is a movie about a gentleman. His name is Jeffrey Manchester. He is a former Army Ranger, and he is a professional thief. So when the movie, starts, you see that he has been, he has a family, okay? He has a wife and he's got a couple of kids, but his life is basically going, nowhere. It's just kind of, day in and day out, same thing, nothing really going on for him. But he has very, very good skills in terms of his ability to, be a really, really good thief. He is very observant. He pays attention to detail, to things that you wouldn't think a person would pay much attention to. And so he has decided that he is going to rob a McDonald's. And he knows that he can accomplish this because he has kind of cased the joint a little bit. He knows exactly what time, for example, the morning shift comes in. He knows where the manager's office is, and of course where the safe would be. He knows everything about what goes on in that establishment, which allows him to rob the place. Now, of course, he can't just walk through the front door. He decides to go up on the roof and enter the McDonald's that way. So that's how he got the name Roofman, because not only did he rob, McDonald's, I think he robbed a Burger King or two. So in this particular robbery that sends him to jail, he has gotten into the McDonald's. The shift workers come in. He already knows all this. He puts them in the freezer so that, he can do what he needs to do and leave. And he tells them, I'll call the police when I leave, but, this is why I'm here. But he's very nice to them. That's the one thing about him as a professional thief. He's just nice to the people that he's taking advantage of and stealing from. And he's quite charming as he does this. So you fast forward, he goes to jail, and he's going to be sent down the river for 45 years, mainly because he kidnapped the workers and put them in a freezer. So that's like, kidnapping, and that carries a pretty stiff sentence. Goes to jail, and again, does his bid. His estranged wife at this point, really doesn't like him calling and checking in on his kids. So that relationship gets, it breaks down because the mother just says, stop calling, don't call us anymore. You're basically a loser in our lives. And so while he's in jail, you have to have a job. So he's got a job. He's very good at what he does. But again, those observation skills kick in, and he is casing the delivery area of the prison where certain deliveries come in, and he knows exactly what time the truck is going to come. He knows who the driver is. He makes sure he talks it up to the driver and is very, very pleasant and so forth. Fast forward, he figures out a way to escape. And once he does, he kind of is just on the run because he can't go to his family because the wife doesn't want him. He doesn't know where to go, so he's just kind of laying low, hiding out in different places, and he realizes that I just can't be out here on the streets because there's APBs out for me. The cops are still looking for me high and low and underneath everything until they find me. Fast forward, gee, there's a Toys R Us. This looks like a nice place to call home. And so, because he is Roofman, goes through the roof, gets into Toys R Us, and spends not a couple of days, not a couple of weeks, he spends months hiding in a Toys R Us in a section of the store, literally, that is in the middle of the store, but it's a constructed part of the store that's got, toys and bikes and things around it. So you really don't know what's inside of what these, items are kind of concealing. And so he makes himself a home in the store. He's eating up all the candy. He has, he's got apparently Toys R Us sells clothes. I didn't know that. He's buying, taking clothes, and he is just living there. And the more, he just gets comfortable there, and that is his home. And then he meets Kristen Dunst's character, and she plays the character Lee, and that's the love interest that he meets through a good deed that he has done, okay? And so they develop a relationship. They fall in love. She's got kids, and he's just playing kind of like stepdad. She's divorced, and a single mom raising two teenagers. And so that's his life until, of course, things begin to unravel. He is very comfortable in this relationship with this woman, but it is kind of moving a little bit fast. He's got, resources so that he is able to hang out with them and have fun with them and buy them presents. And so he realizes that at some point, I'm going to move on and I'm going to need, resources. And that's where his buddy comes in, kind of sort of reluctantly, but because his, best buddy knows how to make fake passports and knows how to get fake documents and, all of those sorts of things. This is what he needs in order to move on and, continue this life of interesting crime. And so that is the movie, and it's just quite interesting to watch him rig the Toys R Us. He's very smart, so he knows computers, he knows electronics, so he knows how to do everything that he needs to do to stay inside of a store, even during store hours, and be undetected. And that was just quite interesting to watch. So if you want to see a crime, I'll call this a dramedy because there was some funny parts in it, but there was some drama and, when people start catching feelings for each other, now you've got this love interest. And at the end, almost dropped a tear. I got kind of like, weepy in the eyes, and I'm like, I can understand both, I can understand this situation, but, I won't tell you how that part ends. You're just going to have to go see it yourself. But I did enjoy it. It's about 2 hours long, but I was not clock watching because I'm like, I want to see how this unfolds. Stay for the credits because then you get to see and listen to interviews of the real characters of, that were portrayed in the movie and, how they felt about Roofman, and it was quite interesting. So there you have it. That is my review. Go check it out. It just came out in theaters. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my Nailed It. And my Nailed It this week comes from one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite actors. The movie is The Untouchables, but the scene with Andy Garcia and Kevin Costner at the train station, but specifically Andy Garcia. Stay with me, folks. In this scene, slow motion, Andy Garcia runs through the train station to assist Kevin Costner. He's got 2 guns. Baby carriage is, clunking down the stairs with the baby inside. Andy Garcia tosses Kevin Costner a pistol, slides into second base, stops the carriage with his shin. He's got his other pistol on the perpetrator right between the eyes, and Kevin Costner just says, "You got him?" And Andy Garcia is like, "Yeah, I got him." Dude didn't get to 2 before Andy Garcia took him out. One of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in a movie. So that is my Nailed It. Andy Garcia in The Untouchables at the train station. All right, folks, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please make sure you hit that like button. And remember, you can follow me on BlueSky at HYSI. All right, moviegoers, you know what to do. Until next week, I need you to see a movie because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.